Hello, welcome to Telecom Weekly, sponsored by the telecom regulator, the Nigerian Communications Commission, to educate, inform and update you with latest trends, issues, news and developments in the telecom and ICT sector of Nigeria and other parts of the world. I am Oluwatobi Eniton. At NCC, we are happy when telecom consumers are well informed and satisfied. Coming up, NCC makes special appearance at Enugu International Trade Fair, stresses importance of ICT to national development. We are committed to putting Nigeria in forefront with innovation regulations, says NCC. Also, in this edition, NCC warns against the illegal use of GSM network boosters. Plus, NIM-SIM linkage, Nigerians speak on compliance. These are the stories we will be updating you with on this week's edition of Telecom Weekly. It promises to be informative. Please stay with us.
On NCC Telecom Weekly, we bring you innovations, trends, policies and stakeholders, redefining all sectors of our economy today. Here, you'll see the actors, policymakers and creativity that will shape your mind and business for growth in line with today's reality. Join us every Friday, 5 p.m. on NTN Network and on radio, FRCN Network on Fridays, 8 p.m. NCC, Connecting Nigeria.
Our first story is from the 43rd Enugu International Trade Fair, which afforded staff of the Nigerian Communications Commission the opportunity to educate telecom consumers on vital aspects of telecoms and ICT.
The country's chief telecom regulator and executive vice chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC), Professor Umar Garuba Dambata, says information communication technology (ICT) is important to human capital development. The NCC's healthman, represented by Mr. Ruben Moka, Director Public Affairs of the Commission, expressed this view in his paper presented during the NCC's special day at the 34th edition of the Enugu International Trade Fair.
Human capital development, therefore, is crucial for economic growth, as humans can think, analyze, and solve problems to achieve a more efficient society, to yield the desired growth rates and development. The ability of a country to seize the competitive advantage that technology and telecommunications offer depends on human capital development. The NCC, as the telecom regulator, is aware that this year, in the telecom industry, we have been achieved without the consumers, and as such, identifies the consumer as a very important stakeholder.
The EBC said the Commission used the trade fair to interact with telecom consumers and to also create an interface between them and telecom operators towards helping them solve their telecom-related issues.
The Commission is interested and we're there to protect them from unwarranted, unwholesome practices in the industry if they appear. Because the regulator takes the consumer as number one stakeholder, and we shall continue to protect and educate and inform and enlighten the consumers always. Mr.
Ayabanji Ojo, Head Consumer Affairs Bureau (NCC), stated that the fair is meant to create awareness and provide updates on how NCC is improving consumers' quality of experience.
Other major issues that are on the front border right now is the issue of data depletion. Now we are going around to educate people to ensure that they know what exactly is data depletion so that nobody takes advantage of it.
The interaction with consumers at the Enugu International Trade Fair raised issues around data services and usage, data depletion, and unsolicited messages. The special day did not only offer NCC the platform to share ideas and information with telecom consumers, it was also an avenue for fun and entertainment.
Our next story is from the annual Bullion Lecture Series organized by the Center for Financial Journalism held at the nation's Commercial Nerve Center, Lagos. At the event, NCC pledged to put Nigeria on the forefront with innovative regulations.
In line with its agenda of facilitating strategic collaboration and partnership with relevant stakeholders to foster ICT for sustainable economic development, The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has indicated its willingness to partner in the digitization of Nigeria's vastly underutilized blue economy. Professor Umar Garuba Dambata, Executive Vice Chairman and CEO, NCC, made this known in his remarks as a special guest of honor at the 2023 edition of the Bullion Lecture in Lagos, annual event put together by the Center for Financial Journalism to engender professional discourse on national and international issues. The EVC, was represented by Mr. Ruben Morka, Director, Public Affairs of the Commission, noted that the telecom regulator is keeping Nigeria in the front role of economics with innovative regulations that suits the future development of the digital economy.
It's a major policy of the federal government, which is the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy 2020 to 2030. That digital economy is envisaging a transformation of Nigeria in the next 10 years. So there is a policy of government on national digital economy talking about expanding the spheres of business, spheres of activities, and of course improving the skills of people and preparing them for the digital economy sector.
The EVC also used the occasion to talk about how the government is using the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy NDEPS 2020 to 2030 to drive the economy in a way that would advance the benefits of the blue economy. He informed the gathering that 90% of the rural population would enjoy fluid internet usage by the year 2025.
Because the next economy is not going to be talking about a lot of employment, it's going to be talking about skills, how people are able to develop skills. And across the country, at a go, we train like 2,000 youths selected from the 6 geopolitical zones, all in preparation for the digital economy.
In his submission at the event, Dr. Bashiru Jamo, Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, said the country's vast blue economy, which has remained grossly underutilized, has the potential to knock off Nigeria's huge debt profile, which is making poverty thrive amidst plenty.
We need to actually see a situation whereby the maritime industry potential is actually brought to bear. So I believe that he will do justice to it, and I believe it's going to be something that will actually open the eyes of all, and there will be benefits added.
The event had in attendance government officials, information and communication technology ICT professionals, captains of industry, members of the diplomatic corps, among others.
You can always be a part of this program by joining us via our multiple social media platforms. For inquiries on this program, you can send a mail to telecomweekly@ncc.gov.ng. For further details about the activities of the Commission, visit www.ncc.gov.ng. Good to know you are still tuned to our flagship program, Telecom Weekly, sponsored by NCC. The telecom regulator NCC has continued to warn against the use of illegal GSM boosters by individuals and organizations. Such boosters are known to degrade the quality of service, which leads to attendant consequences for the industry. This report takes a look at the menace of these boosters and NCC's efforts towards tackling it.
A network booster, sometimes known as a GSM booster, is a device that amplifies the network strength of a particular service provider. The device enhances the network signal you're sending and receiving in areas with poor network, just as it also increases the speed of browsing, download and upload. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has observed a trend in recent times whereby individuals and organizations in areas with high population density or low network coverage install boosting devices to increase signal strength. The Commission has consistently cautioned against the use of unapproved and unauthorized boosters, which it says pose a huge challenge to network integrity as it interferes with mobile signals, leading to call drops and slow data speed. This ultimately degrades quality of service and thus affect quality of experience of consumers living in such environments. The Commission, in line with its regulatory function in February 2022, collaborated with personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) and carried out enforcement action on some residential areas in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on illegal use of GSM boosters. The raid led to the decommissioning of the boosters, whose usage has potentiality of degrading the quality of service delivery by mobile networks in the affected areas.
They use that to enhance quality of service to themselves and then degrade quality of service to generality of people around them. So they boost the quality of service supposedly to themselves and while degrading the quality of service around that. They are actually jammers. That is, they jam telecom signals and then allow those signals to come to themselves or their devices, looking better than it was, but it's actually not good for everybody.
Similarly, interventions have also been carried out in some residential estates in Lekki, Lagos, and most recently in the Garrison Market in Port Harcourt, which saw the NCC enforcement team confiscating many booster devices from residents in some of the estates visited.
It's illegal because it's not supposed to be used. It's interfering with frequency. It's like, okay, you know when you give frequency to mobile network operators, you even create a band so that they will not interfere with each other. Because if I send my signal, I encode my signal my own way, you encode your own. We both of them meet on the same frequency. It's jamming each other. And then they are not going to produce good results. That's what that booster does. It interferes with the transmission of the network service provider to that area because it's also on its own sending signal. It's interference. It's a jammer. It jams signal but enhances signal to the particular man who has that because it has tuned it to collect signals to its own device.
It is therefore worrisome that despite consistent and repeated efforts by the telecom regulator to deter Nigerians from its usage, commercial states such as Kano, Anambra and Lagos have a high presence of boosters in major markets. It is in this light that the Nigerian Communications Commission is reminding the general public, banks and other financial institutions, government agencies, telecommunications service providers, private and public companies, market associations and owners and occupiers of residential premises that the sale, installation and usage of GSM boosters is illegal. Telecom Weekly also sought the views of some Nigerians on the dangers of engaging in illegal GSM boosters, and these were some of their responses.
When you are using illegal one, it will interfere or affect others. At times we call it a jam of the service. Like the mask you see here, you see before we put this, we still have problem of that. But later we sort it out because of this avoid the jam of service. So illegal boosters should be approved by the legal institution meant for, that's the NCC. So I advise everyone who is trying to go illegal way should not do so.
People should be encouraged to use what is approved, not the one that is not approved, because definitely the one that is not approved will have fake one, and those installing fake one also will have impact on the network. And when there are illegal one everywhere in the environment, definitely it will have a negative impact on the network. So it's advisable that the authority concerned will swing into action and clamp down on those using illegal booster, as you say, call it, as the name implies.
The Nigerian Communications Commission says monitoring mechanisms have been put in place, and anyone caught using a GSM booster without obtaining approval will face arrest and prosecution. The Commission has also reiterated that it's a criminal offense to sell, install or use any equipment which may hinder network operations or which has not been type approved by it. The NCC is therefore appealing to members of the public to be vigilant and contact the Commission if they are aware of or suspect the presence of illegal GSM boosters in their vicinity.
What we've tried to do is to encourage the service provider to go with us to those places, to give assurances to these people who have installed boosters, to say, okay, this thing is collectively not good for everybody. Let's remove it, and then we encourage the service provider. Most times the service provider give assurances to say we will improve the service here.
Nigerians are hereby reminded that the Nigerian Communications Commission has issued a pre-enforcement notice, and in line with this, will soon commence nationwide enforcement exercises. Anyone caught using illegal GSM boosters will face the full wrath of the law. Please be guided.
2 years ago, the federal government directed the National Identification Number, NIN, should be linked to the SIM card of individual telecom subscribers in what is widely known as NIN SIM integration policy. Our next report gives an insight into how far the policy has been implemented.
The quest for building a wholesome digitized identity and economic system for Nigeria received a further boost on Thursday, 6 May 2021, when President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja launched two important telecommunications policies initiated by the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy under the leadership of the Minister, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami. The policies are the revised National Digital Identity Policy for SIM card registration and the National Policy for the Promotion of Indigenous Content in the Nigerian telecommunications sector. The revised National Digital Identity Policy for SIM card registration allows major network operators, MNOs, to resume the registration of new subscriber identification model, SIM cards, coming on the heels of SIM registration by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, in December 2022, following its directive to telecom operators to compel subscribers to link their national identification number, NIN, with their SIMs, failing which unlinked SIM would be blocked. The implementation of the SIM-LIN integration has not been an easy policy, as it was met with resistance from key stakeholders. While telecom operators opposed it on the ground of a probable dip in their revenue, subscribers were embittered because they could not obtain or register new SIM, while those that wanted to replace lost or damaged SIM cards could not do so. The outcry against the exercise was also due to the short window for compliance, which was initially 2 weeks. The resistance was also coupled with the inability of most Nigerians to obtain their NIN from the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC. Social distancing in observance of COVID-19 safety protocol did not help matters either. Thanks to the Pantami intervention, there have been several shifts in the deadline, which is now 30th June. So, why so much brouhaha about the SIM-NIN linkage? The answer may not be too far. Mobile phone numbers are a prized asset for most Nigerians because their bank accounts are linked to their telephone lines, meaning they are unable to carry out transactions via the USSD code or receive alerts during the period of the ban.
We are able to determine exactly who is accessing our telecommunication networks. It's important that when people are interacting with others in the digital space, they have some certainty that the person that they're dealing with is a real person. Again, you know, artificial intelligence is a growing body. So it's important that if you are dealing with somebody, you have some level of certainty that the person you are dealing with is who and what they purport to be. That will also give us some certainty that everybody who has access to a telephone line in Nigeria and who is conducting their personal, business and daily life and other activities along the Nigerian telecommunication networks, we have certainty that those people are who they say they are. And this will give security to all of us. We'll enable our children to be safe online. We'll enable people, our merchants, to have confidence that people they are transacting business with are who they say they are and that they will get paid for their goods.
The principal objective of SIM-NIN linkage is to help in building a reliable national digitized ID system that can foster a digitally inclusive society in Nigeria. This will in turn ensure the government can plan well for equitable distribution of infrastructure and social amenities, as well as the welfare of the citizens. The lack of reliable data partly accounts for Nigeria's underdevelopment.
This NIN SIM linkage has been very impactful. It has helped in security challenges that we are facing, and it has also helped to improve the integrity of the SIM registration database. Now more than ever before, Nigerians, we know the owners of these SIMs, and it has helped in law enforcement. As a matter of fact, law enforcement is now able to track, people who use SIM cards for criminal activities.
GSM numbers serve as a vital personal information required for processing important documents like travel passport, driver's licenses, or filling bank documents. Hence, SIM-NIN linkage specifically will help in checkmating the activities of fraudsters, kidnappers, bandits, terrorists, and cyber criminals. An integrated SIM-NIN will make it easier for our security and intelligence agencies to profile, track, and arrest criminals regardless of their hiding place.
Every sovereign nation must know its own citizen, and also that government must know the citizen before it can plan for the citizen, before it can plan to have budget and also secure the citizen. In other developed countries, right from birth, you are registered and you have to you provide that registration details at the time of entering school, at the time of registering a business, at the time of registering for election, at the time of payment of your taxes if you want to drive or you want to travel.
The federal government recently directed all agencies which collected biometric data to harmonize them with NIMC so that citizens do not have to provide the same information multiple times. The Nigerian Immigration Services, NIS, now uses NIMC data for verifying personal data for travel passport processing and other immigration protocols. The Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, has also begun data biometric harmonization with the NIMC database for driver's license processing. Candidates registering for the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, now go through a simplified process, as they are now only required to generate a profile by sending their NIN via their telephone number to a dedicated USSD code for the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. Bank Verification Number, BVN, a Central Bank of Nigeria's mandatory Know Your Customers requirements for banks, is already being harmonized with NIN. No BVN can be done without an active telephone number of the bank customers.
If you have a nation that is secure and safe, you will attract investors to your country. And when you attract investors, you will have a more prosperous country, there will be development, there will be growth. Also, it helps in national planning. Now, governments will be able to provide adequate infrastructure because it knows the citizens, will be able to provide amenities and welfare for its citizens.
The need to build a healthy digitized identity system, particularly as it relates to curbing various forms of insecurity in the country, was the reason for the NIN SIM linkage policy initiated by the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy on 6 May 2021. About 2 years into the implementation of the NIN SIM integration policy, how has the plan fared in terms of compliance level? Telecom Weekly sought the views of some experts and some Nigerians on the subject.
Unlike before that, once your phone is stolen, they process your SIM card and then get every information. But now it has helped to keep all these things in order. It has helped to maintain orderliness in terms of law and security.
When I was not having the NIN number, I was applying for a job online. So part of the requirement was that I should fill in my NIN number. And it was for a short period of time before I could go and get my NIN number, because then I just registered. I've not gotten the NIN number. Before I could go and get the NIN number, the registration have closed.
Maybe accident happened and their phone is being picked, and maybe they cannot be able to just say, okay, let them use the SIM card, or they check the name now. That they can able to trace your family, where you are from, and where you and your family background and everything, who give back to you and all this thing, they can able to trace it.
Speaking on the identification scheme, Engineer Ike Namani, the president, the Association of Telecommunications Companies in Nigeria, ATCON, is of the view that the initiative is a laudable one, as it will go a long way to ensure the delivery of government services and the security in the country.
It is a very vital number or document that would be properly done, would lead to economic development, because it will help in planning and budgeting for the government. It would potentially also assist with national security, and then it would also aid in the development and distribution of social amenities to the citizens. So we have always supported and always welcomed having a link for every citizen as well as temporary resident of the country.
The SIM-NIN linkage is to help build a reliable national digitalized identification system that can foster a digitally inclusive society. With well over 173 million subscribers so far enrolled on the NIN, experts have expressed the belief that Nigeria is on the path to have an improved database with the implementation of the policy.
It is on this note we call it a day on this week's episode of Telecom Weekly. Before we go, don't forget you can always be a part of this program by joining us via multiple social media platforms. For inquiries on this program, you can send a mail to telecomweekly@ncc.gov.ng. For further details on the activities of the Commission, visit www.ncc.gov.ng. Telecom Weekly is brought to you by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. NCC, keeping telecom consumers well informed and satisfied. Until we come your way again next week, I am Oluwatobi Enito saying bye for now.